Morning, Helen. Hi, Jenny and Chris. Welcome to you all. I'm very well, thank you, Helen. Um, yeah, I'm just feeling. I've had a bit of a funny year with leg injuries and things. But I've got my energy back now. Even getting up at 6:15 in the morning, I've got my energy back, which is a good sign. Hope you're all well as well. Good morning, Lynn. Welcome, everybody, as you tune in. Good to see you. Welcome, everybody. Another whole load of people just tuned in. It's lovely. I just love it. I love to see the figures going up and for you to be here, ready to meditate. It's great. Just tidy up. This is, by the way, this is called a caser. And when we get ordained as members of the Triratna Buddhist Order, we're ritually one of these is put round our necks very firmly. And it's instead of a robe, really. It's actually the belt from a robe, um, or that's of it. And so we have it. We have this instead of wearing robes, because we're not a monastic order. So we have a caser instead that we wear when we lead meditation and so on. Good morning, Isabel. Good to see you. And it's 7 o'clock. So I guess we could start, and maybe one or two more people will join while I'm talking. Um, so last week, I think it was last week, I was saying about how we separate ourselves out from the world, and this isn't. This is something that goes back to the dawn of time, really, when human beings were just first starting to emerge. We lived in dangerous places. We were surrounded by danger, so we had to separate ourselves off in a way to protect ourselves from the next tribe or wild animals. We had to really develop these strategies for being separate and being safe. And we don't need most of them now. We do need some of them, but we don't need them in the way that we used to. But we still do it. We separate ourselves off from the world. There's me in here, and there's the world out there. And the world out there is often a little bit hostile, isn't it? So we're careful with the world out there, and we might distrust people. We might have a view of other people as a bit unsafe, either consciously or unconsciously. And we might defend ourselves in our own minds against other people out there. And all that does is create pain for us, unpleasantness. Uh, when we have a when we have a critical opinion of somebody, it's not a very nice feeling, is it? And then that spills out into the way we act towards them. We might get angry with them, or we might not understand them in the way that we might. We might just react to other people. So that creates problems between us and them. And the thing is, there is no separation. It's all in our own minds. In actual fact, we are just completely part of the world. There is no me in here and the world out there. There is just the present moment evolving, and we are part of that. And we are part of everything else that's evolving. Even though that's difficult to see, we are connected very, very intimately with everything around us. And by separating ourselves, we create suffering. So the purpose of Buddhism and the purpose of meditation is to try and see that and to reduce our suffering and the suffering of those around us by being connected with the world and with other people. And that's where loving kindness meditation comes. So if we can practice loving kindness towards ourselves and towards other people, we begin to in a way, heal this separation. We begin to connect. We begin to be part of everything again. And that creates happiness. It actually creates peace and serenity, real happiness to be part of everything and to stop, in a way, to reduce our separation from the rest of the world. So that's what this loving kindness meditation is about. We just, and I should say that there's nothing wrong in our us being critical or fearful or anything like that. It's hardwired into us. It's just how we are. But we don't have to accept it as it is. We can change it. We can cultivate a sense of connection with others. We do that by noticing in a very kind way how we can be critical. Just admitting it, just seeing it, noticing that we're sometimes judgmental and critical of ourselves and other people. And just noticing that. By noticing it, we take away its power. And slowly, we begin to be less critical, less judgmental. And on the other hand, we cultivate loving kindness. So we notice our negative side and we cultivate our positive side. And it's very straightforward, really. So this practice is 5 stages, and I'll lead us through it. And we bring ourselves to mind, and then a good friend, and then a stranger, and then somebody we don't get on with. And just see how we feel, and if we can have a sense of goodwill to each of these people. Okay, so welcome to Anne-Marie and Philippa and Stuart and Sarah. Good to see you all, and anybody else who is here and hasn't checked in, and everybody who watches on the recording. You're all very welcome. Okay, so let's start. Enough chat. So just settling down, maybe taking a few deep breaths to begin with. Just noticing that you're here right now, right in this moment. You're here listening to me, taking deep breaths, relaxing, hopefully. So just having a sense of being present in this moment. So what's that feel like right now? Now, it might feel really good. It might feel not so good. It could be pleasant or unpleasant, comfortable or uncomfortable. And that might be mental or emotional or physical. So just testing how we are right now. And however you are, whether you're grumpy or happy, serene or all anxious, it's okay. Just accepting whatever state you're in with kindness. Because it's the truth. It's the state you're in right now. There's no point in trying to deny it or make it different. So just accepting how you are, letting it be. We don't need to force anything to change. Everything's fine just as it is. So just noticing what you can sense now. You might be able to hear some sounds around you, or maybe even just the silence. Just noticing what you can see. Even if you've got your eyes shut, you can still see something. There's still something there. What can you feel? Can you feel your clothes rubbing against your skin? The air from the room also brushing your skin, maybe warm or cold. And the sensation of sitting or lying or kneeling, whatever your posture is. You feel that contact with whatever you're sitting or lying on. All this is really wonderful and mysterious, isn't it? We can make this connection with our environment and our bodies coming together. And we take it for granted, but this environment that we live in is changing all the time. Change around us affects the change in us, and the change in us affects the environment around us. So there's a real connection there. We're beginning to notice the breath coming and going, breathing in the fresh oxygen, breathing out carbon dioxide. And as we breathe out that carbon dioxide, all the greenery in the world, the trees, the shrubs, even the grasses and everything that's growing in nature absorbs our CO2, absorbs our carbon dioxide. It's food for the rainforest. It's food for the trees. They breathe in our carbon dioxide and they breathe out oxygen, which we breathe in, sustains us in our lives. So in a very real way, you could say that we're part of the rainforest and the trees and the shrubs, and they're part of us. We're sustaining them, they sustain us. I'm just really enjoying breathing in the fresh, clean air supplied by the greenery of nature. And bringing our attention to the heart center, just below the bottom of just behind the bottom of the rib cage, somewhere in the middle of the chest. You find your heart center. If you can't, maybe think of somebody you love. Make it easier. And just noticing any feelings that you can find in the heart center. Not trying to force anything. Just allowing any feelings of warmth and goodwill and kindness to arise. If they don't, that's okay. If they do, not trying to force them in any way into a particular size or shape, just allowing them to grow. So this is loving kindness meditation, the metta bhavana meditation. And in the first stage, we just reflect upon how we feel about ourselves. We have a complex relation with ourselves, don't we? We sometimes quite like ourselves, other times we are quite negative about ourselves. So just reflecting for a moment on that. What's that about? Maybe we feel not quite good enough at times. Maybe we're embarrassed by the things we do. Maybe we feel foolish. Maybe we're really critical about ourselves at times. Can we just reflect that we are just a human being, a tender, precious human being, living in a complex world, trying to make it work, doing our best, always trying to do our best. Can we perhaps gaze kindly upon ourselves? Can we be patient with ourselves? Can we be a support to ourselves? Maybe being something like our own best friend, just having a sense of kindness when things go wrong, when life is difficult. Can we look after ourselves? And instead of just allowing the negativity to be there, can we soothe the negativity? Can we help our suffering self to gain a perspective, to understand that things will go wrong? We don't need to be perfect. We're just fine as we are. Can we open our hearts to ourselves in all our imperfectness, in all our difficulties, can we have a sense of loving kindness and warmth towards ourselves as tender human beings? In the second stage, we're going to bring to mind a good friend. We can do this through an image of them, if we can do that, or just having a sense of them being with us. Maybe even just remembering being with our friend at a particularly happy time, or maybe a significant. Just again a sense of our good friend, somebody that we care, and just seeing what happens in our heart center as we think about them. So we know this person well, and the chances are that we also know that they go through periods of self-doubt and suffering, not feeling good enough, anxiety and disappointment, just like we do. And we love them. We know that they're okay in spite of all that. So can we connect with their suffering, their ups and downs in their life, and open our hearts to them with a sense of warmth and love and support? And just letting our good friend go for the time being. And bringing into our meditation this morning somebody that we don't know very well. Maybe a neighbour or somebody we pass in the street regularly, somebody on the bus or in a shop, somebody that we see pretty much every week maybe, but we don't really know them. We don't like them or dislike them. They're just somebody we see. So when you bring them to mind, how do you feel about them? What happens in your heart centre? Do you feel a connection with them? Or do they feel a bit? Chances are they feel a bit distant. They feel a bit, we might even feel a complete indifference to them. And that's okay. Strangers don't seem to have much effect on our lives. But in fact, we are connected to them through the world. So can we just reflect that all the people around us that we don't know are just human beings like us. And there's great similarities. They too have difficulties in their lives. They too don't feel up to the job of being human sometimes. They get anxious and upset and angry, disappointed. Sometimes they're very happy and full of joy. They have people who love them and who they love. And they need care and attention just like we do. They're just as tender and fragile and imperfect as us, doing the best in a very complex way. So can we reach out to them, these strangers, this stranger? Can we open our hearts with warmth and goodwill and wish them well in their life? So we can let the stranger go for the moment, and we bring into our meditation somebody that we don't get on with, somebody we find a bit uncomfortable maybe, not somebody we've fallen out with dramatically, just somebody that irritates us or we just rather not be with. We have an opinion about them. And just noticing how it feels when we bring them to mind and when we contact our opinion of them. How does that feel? Pretty uncomfortable, I would imagine. And when we don't like somebody, we want to push them away. We want to avoid them. And makes us feel uncomfortable in the body, unpleasant sensations in the mind and the body. So we're not criticizing those, we're just accepting them as they are. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not trying to stop feeling that way. That's the way we feel. So just first of all, having a sense of love towards ourselves, towards the discomfort that we feel when we think of this person. Just opening our hearts to our own suffering. And then, in spite of how we feel, how this person makes us feel, can we open our hearts to them? Can we have a sense of warmth towards them as a human being? They go through exactly the same kind of emotions and difficulties and ups and downs that we do. Can we have a sense of solidarity with them on that? We don't have to like them, but can we just wish them well in their lives? Can we just open our hearts to them as fellow human beings? And in the final stage, bringing all four people together. Ourselves, the good friend, the stranger, and the we have difficulty with. Just imagining all four of us sitting together. Just sitting together in a warm and friendly way, even though we're all in many ways different. In so many ways, we are the same. All four of us, tender human beings, living in a complex world, just doing our best with the ups and downs of life. Can we have a sense of love and kindness towards them, towards ourselves, the good friend, the stranger, and the difficult person? Can we open our hearts to everyone equally, with so much in common? And then spreading the goodwill further, opening our hearts to everybody that's been meditating with us this morning, different parts of the country, people leading different lives. All of us complex human beings living in a complex world, just doing our best. Coming together this morning to do something extraordinary, to wish the world well, to wish others well. How wonderful is that? And finally, opening our hearts with warmth to the whole world, to all the beings in the world, all the living beings, all humans, animals, birds, water creatures, insects, reptiles, all living creatures, every one of them doing the best to live their lives. Every one of them struggling at times, doing the best. Can we open our hearts to them? And to the world itself, also struggling at times, also needing our love and care. So opening up our hearts to the whole world and all beings in it. Welcome to Joanne and Paul, who checked in later. And I hope you found that helpful. If we can just ease this separation with the world, just become more connected with other people, perhaps noticing that we have this tendency to separate ourselves from them with judgments and criticism, and to replace those where we can with a little bit of love through the day when we see other people, and just become more connected with the world. It will make us happier. It will definitely make us happier. Okay, well, before I go, just one thing. We've got a newcomers, what we call a newcomers course, an introductory course to Buddhism, beginning this Saturday. I'm doing it with Joe, and we're going to be looking at other ways that we can be happier. The Buddha had a very good idea of what we do to cause ourselves, and he laid out a path we can follow. We don't have to be Buddhist particularly, but the good practical things that we can do to make ourselves happier, to stop ourselves from suffering and getting into pickles. So if you want to join Joe and I on Saturday, it's 10 o'clock till 12:30 for 4 weeks, 4 Saturdays in May. And you need to book. You can book online on our website at York Buddhist Centre.org and click on the tab that says courses. You'll see it. It's Sailing the Worldly Winds. And the worldly winds are the things that push us around in our lives, make us unhappy. But we can learn to sail them and to be okay with them. So do join us. It's a really interesting 4 week course. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me this morning. It's always a great pleasure. And I'll be back again tomorrow with a giving and receiving meditation where we just absorb love from the universe and we give it out to others. And it's a beautiful, relaxing, inspiring meditation, I think. Not because I'm doing it, just because I think it's a lovely thing to do. Anyway, great to be with you and have a good day. Take care of yourselves and lots of love to you all.